Welcome to the Dr. PhilGood, our weekly broadcast on trauma recovery, cellular health, and real-life healing from the inside out.
This series is proudly sponsored by the Patrick Risha CTE Awareness Foundation, whose mission is to prevent CTE through education and early intervention.
A mission that's critical for families like ours navigating brain injury, behavioral changes, and long-term caregiving.
You can visit them at stopcte.org.
There you go.
That's the way to do it.
Okay, all right, are
Play
we ready?
your guitar on the MTV. Hey, welcome Facebook, David Carson Live. We just realized that I could do this live, and we stopped doing them live,
Welcome.
5 shows ago.
So I just got this new instruction that now we start the show with, "Hey David, how are you doing today?"
Oh, I'm good. Good to see
Like we've
you.
never seen each other before.
Did you happen to shower before this show?
I did.
How about
No,
brush
I
your
took a
teeth?
bath. Yes.
I just
did
want
that
all of
too.
our listeners to know that Fru, before she goes into recording, she needs to brush her teeth. And I always tell her, I'm like, nobody's going to smell your breath.
That's
She's
that's the
very-
only reason why we brush our teeth. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming and joining us today. We have a very, very special guest.
On the Dr. PhilGood
Danielle
show.
Matthews. I have the pleasure to know her for 6 years now. Yes, almost 6 years.
Oh, wow.
now.
It's been that
I
long.
know.
That's wild.
And I love her for her personality. She's got a wonderful, very kind heart, and just everything she does is for helping other people. And you guys are gonna hear more about that today. But first, I'd like to say a few words about her, which is that Danielle graduated with distinction from the University of Virginia with a Bachelor's of Science in Biology. So that by itself makes her one of my best friends, because she's a biology nerd. And I love that. But she's also spent 2 years teaching through Teach for America, a highly competitive program that accepts fewer than 10% of applicants. And something happened while she was doing that we're going to discuss today. Her life took a major turn. And she had a car accident that caused her to lose her health in ways that conventional medicine was not able to help.
We know how that feels.
Yeah, 100%. And that experience forced her to look beyond the traditional Western medicine model, and she began searching for alternative solutions, deeper answers, and a more complex understanding of the body. This is the reason why she's here today, because
That's the reason why you met her.
it's also the reason, but this is why she's such a special guest. We always love to bring people here who don't understand the body from textbooks, but they have their personal experience with what can be done when it comes to healing. And so that journey is what led her into the work that she does today, which is very cool. She's educating people on cellular health and redox biology. Some of you may not be familiar with what that is or what that means, but this is what allows her to help people to get the support that their bodies need in healing at a foundational level. And I don't want to say much more because Danielle is also an excellent speaker, so I will let her introduce herself and tell her story.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Fun.
Yeah.
Well, my life, I've always been fascinated by the body. That's why I got a degree in biology. I actually thought that I wanted to go on to medical school. Like my grandfather was a doctor, and I just he always knew the answers to everything, right? Something's going on, you call him and he would tell you. And when I got into school, I just thought I couldn't see myself doing another decade of schoolwork. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. And that's why after I graduated, I took a few years off and I did Teach for America, and I taught, thinking I'll do 2 years and then, I'll go back to school for something and I'll go deeper into it. And yeah, life just literally 180. I got hit by a drunk driver, and in that accident sustained an injury to my brain. And my life it stopped. The life I had known, because I couldn't concentrate for more than 10 minutes at a time. I could not handle any sort of light, like natural light even was too much for me. We had to put blackout fabric on the windows. Noise couldn't handle. Like it was like a cacophony in my brain. Like everything came, like AC, the sound of silverware, someone talking, like it all came into my brain at the same level. I couldn't like siphon out what was important and what wasn't important. And so it was just so overwhelming. And my ability to work obviously gone. I
Right.
attempted. I'm very stubborn. So I attempted and I pushed and I tried to go back, but it was very clear I couldn't remember my kids' names. I couldn't remember my to-do list I was making. Like it was just a mess. And so I ended up losing my job. I mean, I went on a medical leave, but even after that, I couldn't get back. You know, Western medicine, it's interesting. With the scale of brain injuries, right? There's mild, moderate, and severe. And I was classified as a mild TBI, mild traumatic brain injury. And I said to the doctor, like, this is an oxymoron. Like, you've got to be kidding me. There's nothing mild about a traumatic brain injury. And he said, well, Danielle, you know, you don't have a bleed and you're not in a coma. And so there's really not much we can do for you. We try to get people to your state. And I'm like, well, this isn't a functional state.
Right.
Know? And he's like, well, it's like, that's where all we can go. And I remember very distinctly, a good friend of mine from University of Virginia who had gone on to medical school. He kept his route. He was in it at the time and he called me and he goes, Danielle, like, brain injury, TBI, this is like the sexy new frontier. Like this is where everybody's talking about because we don't know so much about the brain. And this is circa 2012. Okay, so this is like the movie Concussion was coming out around now. Like the NFL was talking about brain injury, or soldiers coming back with TBIs. It was all kind of in the collective, and things were moving in a direction to hopefully find solutions. But at the time, there really wasn't much.
There was none. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a rough time in my life, to put it.
Yeah, if you don't mind, tell us like how that actually made you feel. Like you knew you came out of biology and then you were also heading to that direction and then you're not getting answers good enough.
Yeah,
like
and I'd always been super interested in neuroscience. So I've always been fascinated by the brain. And so I guess initially I was sort of in denial at the severity of what was going on. And because I'm, smart, like I was able to kind of compensate in ways that like people didn't realize how bad it was. That I was like having to plan every 10 minutes of my day because I just like didn't know what to do with myself, but I had done it. So then it looked like I was okay because I was kind of like semi-functioning. Like I don't know how to describe that, if that makes any sense, but I was not. I had all these coping mechanisms I had figured out, but I was very much not okay.
Every TBI person out there understands what you're saying.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I hear it a lot.
And you looked fine. I mean, like I look in the mirror, I looked exactly like this.
Right.
I mean, maybe 10 years, younger.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I aged pretty well. But I would just look at myself like just dead in the eye and I'm like, get it together, Danielle. Like snap out of it, Danielle. Like, come on, you can do this. You can do this. And it was just, there was no willpower to get you through. And I have strong willpower and I couldn't. And the pounding in my head was just relentless. I think that was the worst part. I didn't even mention that, but that was so bad. I mean, it felt like I had a vice grip on my head. It felt like pulsing. I would describe it as like, it felt like there was like a thorn of spikes around my head. And then also like my brain was exploding out of my head. And
I said that's why Jesus put the crown of thorns on his head so that he could save us, TBI folks.
Feel that same thing that a bunch of TBI people go through with.
He had us in mind when that happened. That's what I say.
Amen.
Yeah.
It is a wild feeling. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Right.
You just like that. It is a horrible thing to go through because when anytime you lose your health, you lose everything. But when you lose your brain, like your capacity to think and do, and like you
can't rebuild.
I mean,
And
all the things, the coping mechanisms, right? Like, well, listen to music, or I'll like watch something to forget about it, or I'll hang out with friends. Like, none of those.
But your personality changes. Like there is a change. Like even your mom said that I heard her saying that, like after you discovered the solution, which we'll talk about later, your personality came back. These were her words, like word by word. And
That's the
one
best
thing
feeling.
that a lot of people don't understand, I think, is like what it feels like when somebody's smart like you are, like has a really easy way to figure out things on a regular basis, and then you lose that, because that's the same way what you said about I look the same. People can tell you how smart you are by looking at you, and they can tell how difficult everything is for you, in your brain by looking at you.
I was so grateful because like a year in, my 1 year appointment, my neurologist said to me, Danielle, with your type of injury, your body's done all the healing it's going to do.
Yes.
And this is your new normal. And you need to shape your life around it. And a couple things happened because in my bag in the office that day was a book by Norman Doidge called The Brain That Changes Itself. And a really good friend of mine from high school had given me that book. Well, actually, I've known it since elementary school, but he'd given me that book to give me hope because every chapter was about neuroplasticity and this guy who had done through his own research, and it was a case study on all these people that had crazy things happen with their brain, way worse than me, and their journey back because of neuroplasticity, because of the ability to make new neural connections. And so I said to my neurologist, he said, well, like, you gotta be kidding me. How can this be my new normal? Like, what about neuroplasticity? What about my ability to make new neural connections? And he literally said to me, oh, that's a theory, it's not proven. And I was like, you're fired.
That cracks me up to hear. Like when I think about that, like I'm like, okay, what is not a theory in science? You know, like,
I know. I'm like, pretty proven. Like, do you want this book? You know?
yes.
But the one good thing that came out of that was he referred me to a cognitive therapist that happened to be in the same building. And her name was Debbie Gale. And she was a lifesaver for me because she had a support group. So all of a sudden I was around other people with TBI and they just got it. It was like I didn't have to explain it all. They just understood. And it felt so good because my friends and family, they tried to understand, but I honestly felt like I was in this tunnel by myself and they were trying to come into it, but they just couldn't. Like they couldn't get it. They didn't get it. And these people got it. So that was huge. And then Debbie also taught me how to like live my life and use my life to like support myself getting better, like trying to like work around the injury, figure out what was stimulating me, what was causing it to get worse. Like I realized that working out was making it worse, but it was a 2-day lag. So for whatever reason, when my blood pressure would go up and my heart rate would go up and I'd work out, 2 days later, it would feel like I got hit by a truck.
Yes, I heard.
Like, I couldn't get out of bed. My head felt terrible.
I just said that to Fru this morning.
Yeah, that you woke up.
Man, I felt like I was dragged behind a semi and then ran over by a tank.
Not
It's
from
a funny,
working
like,
out.
analogy because like none of us have ever been hit by a truck.
Right.
Well, that truck, I did a head-on collision. Yeah, I was a truck.
Oh, well, maybe some of us are there.
He's the only one to qualify that expression.
You actually know. But I don't want to actually.
Fortunately, I was seatbelted to the truck seat, so I didn't get dragged behind it.
Yeah. Okay. So you still don't know the dragging
No,
feeling.
no.
All right.
I don't want to know either.
No, yeah, no kidding. But it was really wonderful. You know, this therapist, she got me doing like a gratitude journal, which I think people talk about doing them all the time, but it changed my life because I was so depressed. I was so anxious. Like I would think about my past and I would just like, just depression. I mean, everything. I told I was never going to be able to snowboard again. I was told all these things I couldn't do. My whole life that I had been living was just gone. And then I think about my future and I'm watching friends of mine, right? They're in medical school. They're doing all these things. And I'm sitting on the sidelines of life. And so I'd get panic attacks. I'd literally cry and my shirt would be soaking wet because I'd be so upset and I couldn't control it. You know, and I had PTSD. Like if I'd be in the car and something would happen that I didn't expect, I'd freak out, you know? And so there was a lot emotionally going on. And I was very blunt talking about what you said, Fru, about my mom saying that my personality finally came back eventually. And it's like, I was rude.
Oh, you lost your filter too?
Yeah. I had no filter because it was like, just stop talking. Like I say whatever you want to say and then shut up because my brain could not handle
anymore
the input,
yes.
And it was just like, I'm already at max, like whatever you're trying to do, please do it quickly and go away. Was kind of how it was, and it was, I needed to be in a dark room and people would forget. And so I'd snap at them or like they'd put speakerphone on. It like at the house.
Yes, extra unnecessary. Yes, I hear you.
It would drive me up a wall, and it's funny because even to this day they're like, "Oh, sorry, Danny," and I'm like, "Guys, I've been fine for like 10 years.
I'm okay now."
I love it.
But yeah, all of these things, it's tough. It's a very dark space to be in, but at the same time, I also think it was the most beautiful because I was alone with my thoughts. A lot of us, I think, do everything we can to avoid sitting alone by ourselves with our thoughts. Like we constantly try to get other things to distract us or entertain us or whatever. And I was forced by life to just be in a dark room with myself. I learned that I'm not my thoughts. I mean, I literally had this awakening to the fact that there's like this peaceful, silent centered space that is always there, always witnessing everything that you can access. And it was unreal to me. It's like a big spiritual awakening. And I didn't know what was happening at the time. It's like sort of, but the seed of it was planted then, and it's just continued to grow over the last 10, 12 years, 13 years. How long has it been? It's been a while. My goodness.
What year was the car accident?
2012.
2012,
So,
okay. 14
It'll
years.
be 14 years.
Oh
in
my
June.
gosh.
Yeah, a couple months.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
14
It is
years,
wild.
2012.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of where I was. And the thing that gave me some hope, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Kevin Pierce, his documentary. He's a snowboarder, and
I haven't seen that one.
Love Your Brain is like his foundation. It's fantastic.
I've seen that. Love Your Brain.
Okay, so Kevin was a big snowboarder. He was like on the level of Shaun White for anyone that used to follow snowboarding or does. He was getting ready for the Olympics, and he was like favored to possibly beat Shaun White into the recording everything. And during one of his he was out training, in the half pipe, he came down and just smashed his head. And I had a TBI, much worse than mine. And they just didn't stop filming. So they filmed him in the hospital. They filmed his whole recovery process. And it was like watching him be at like the top of the top. I mean, talk about a dream life, getting to travel the world snowboarding and competing. I mean, like, does it get better than that? I don't think so. so he's doing that. And then he loses everything, his health included. But he came out of that and he found purpose again through the Love Your Brain Foundation. And watching that, like, almost gave me permission to let go of this life I had and go, okay, life might look different now, but maybe like something beautiful is going to come from this. And I kind of just held on to that. And now I know it to be true that anybody that goes through challenging times, like actually something beautiful births from it.
I agree. It is so important. That dark moment is where that seed breaks, right?
Exactly.
And new life starts.
What the enemy does for evil, God will turn it for good.
Yes, there is that too. Yes.
That's exactly right. And I have this, it's not in this room, it's in another room in my house, but it's like the yin yang sign, but it's got a tree in it. And so it's like the roots are in the darker part. And then, this beautiful tree in the lighter part. And I love that because I think that's what it is. It's like everything, there's dark and light. Like we need day and night. We need the polarity in life, but we get into these situations where we think, oh, this is good and this is bad. And it's actually like, no, like the dark is where the seed grows. It's where the roots go down. And it's like, it's why I'm so strong and confident and clear and grounded.
We know it. The dark comes first. The dark comes first. Night comes first, and then the day. And so that's where you rebirth.
Yeah, like how you said, the direction that your life headed to before the car accident, it wasn't even really clear what you were gonna do. Like you didn't know.
It was, it's really weird. It's almost like something inside of me knew something was going to happen because every time it felt like I literally, my whole life I had planned, like I'm gonna do this and this and this and this. University of Virginia was my top school. I applied early decision. I got in. Like I just was always very clear. And the Teach for America thing was very clear for me too. So I did that, and you give 2 years. And then I had decided, oh, maybe I'll stay on for a third year because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And it just felt like this black nebulous like drop off. That's what I remember feeling. Like there's no clear next. And
that was taken care of.
Exactly. It's like, we're gonna move you this way, Danielle.
Yeah.
So some divine guidance into this direction, and here we are.
I'm so glad you're resilient and strong.
Yes,
like that.
me too. Many people I know look up to you for that, and then of course the kindness that comes from the compassion that comes from going through all that darkness.
You have much more understanding and compassion than the average person.
I went to psychotherapy for a year or two. Steve, he was amazing, and he said to me, because like at this time, right, all my friends out doing all their stuff, going to business school at Yale and Harvard. I mean, I'm telling you, I had some very impressive friends, on like what society would say is impressive,
right,
academically. And so I'm watching them all do this, and here I am, like sitting around wondering if I'll ever even be able to work again or earn my own income again. No idea what I'd ever be able to do. And Steve said to me, he said, Danielle, through this, you are going to gain more emotional intelligence than any of these people that you're right now comparing your life to. And he said, they're going to have these paper degrees and all of this. He said, at the end of this, you're not going to get a degree. There's no certificate. There's no nothing. He said, but you're going to be a better mother, should you ever choose to become one, a better like partner, a better sister, daughter. You're gonna be more aware because this has humbled you so much and put you so in touch with your own emotions that the compassion you're gonna have for other people is gonna be huge. And it was like I was slipping, and it was like he tied a knot. You know what they started saying, like tie a knot at the end of the rope and hold on. I swear it was like that was the knot that he tied, and I just held to that. I didn't really understand what he meant, but I was like, okay, if something could come from this, like I didn't get it. Now I do. And he's so right. And I think that that serves you in every capacity, and it just helps you to serve people better.
Yeah, you become a better leader, and you become a better friend too. Like those are all parts of that. And of everything probably better. Yeah, it betters you. That's one thing I always try to help people to understand when they're in the dark place. It's hard to see, especially if they haven't gone through any major traumas in their lives, that there is a purpose in it. So your story is very inspiring for that reason. But I do have a question though, because your science background, how did that, help you when it came to discover alternative solutions? Did it make you more skeptical, or did it help?
Well, I had an interesting upbringing because I had my grandfather, who was a doctor, Westernly trained. He was a lung doctor, very good. And then my mom, I don't know if it was almost in reaction to him or what, but she had kind of gotten into more alternative modalities.
Oh, she did.
Like,
okay.
I was a big swimmer growing up, and I got swimmer's ear all the time. And my mom would make this concoction of like olive oil and garlic, and it smelled terrible, but she'd put it in our ears, and the swimmer's ear would go away. And so she would use essential oils, like, and put it on the bottoms of her feet and stuff, and like just all these little ways she was helping. She was like ahead of her time. Even like I remember like my lunches, I was not allowed to have plastic like bags or whatever. So I'm like the kid with like Tupperware before, like it was just like I felt so embarrassed by it. But mom was like on top of things with the environment and whatever, like reusable things, this kind of stuff. And so that had kind of been in our awareness. And she had a studio in Annapolis where she did different trainings and teachings and stuff. And so she got to know like the wellness community in that area really well. And so when my accident happened, we had a plethora of options, thank goodness, because my neurologist basically said there's nothing we can do. Now I knew from class and from study and everything, like, no, neuroplasticity is real, like the brain can make new connections. Like I was like, I'm gonna get better. I was convinced of it. But then how?
Right.
And we tried so much. I mean, bless my mom, she was driving me like weekly to different appointments, different therapies. Like we tried so many different things, and I was just open because I knew like the body is designed to heal itself. The body wants to get back into balance. Sometimes it just needs a little extra support. So I became like, I had been vegetarian before the accident. And then it became clear to me, like, no, the brain needs like animal protein, like it needs fat.
And the fat, yes.
Yep. And so you need to change your diet. So, okay, change my diet. Fine. Whatever you need to do. And I tried hyperbaric oxygen treatments. I did HBOT, like lots of dives, probably 40 hours the first time. And then another, like 6 months later, I did another 40 hours. We did neurobiofeedback. There was a woman, Mary Lee Esty. She was in like Bethesda, Maryland area. She'd worked with a lot of TBI, like veterans, and had done some great work with that. And that made some incremental improvement. Like if I had been maybe a 10 out of 10, she got me to like an 8 out of 10. So it was the only thing that I thought moved the dial at all. And she was really helpful because she could see my neural connections. And she was like, yeah, I can see where your processing speed is slower and that things like aren't firing quickly. And so it was very helpful to like have that data point. And what she did, like I said, it's like slight improvement.
What changed?
Helped for like a day.
What changed when you started looking at your body at the cellular level?
Yeah, when I started looking at that, it was, well, nutrition was one. Like, okay, what do I need to feed my cells? But everything changed when we were introduced to redox signaling. So redox signaling, these reductants and oxidants, it's like a reductant is negatively charged. So it has an extra electron to give, and an oxidant is able to receive an electron. And so at the cellular level, all communication is happening through electron transfer. Like our cells have all these like receptors on them, and it's all just electron transfer.
You're so smart. You and Fruz start nerding out on me like that, and I'm like, give me that.
You asked the question, Dave.
I know it. But she wrote it.
Fair. So what happened when we learned about this was basically the concept that was shared was that your mitochondria are less efficient after puberty. And so your mitochondria, they're making your ATP, your energy.
Right.
And as they're doing that, they're spinning off these reductants and oxidants. And so when you're young, they're very efficiently making energy and spinning these things off. And so your body has a lot of these signaling molecules, and they take care of like everything. I mean, they are the signal, like internally, they're what activate different genetic pathways. So to make sure your immune system is activated, like that innate immune response that goes after viruses, to make sure your inflammatory responses are happening appropriately, your hormones are balanced, your digestive enzymes are being produced. Like they're in charge of all that. They're also in charge, like if you cut yourself, they're the call, that goes out that lets the body know, hey, you need to heal this area. So they're part of everything, and every cell uses them. They're non-specific. It's not like the cells in your brain and your eye and your lungs have different signaling. It's all the same for all the trillions of our cells. And so what was shared with me, with my mom actually, was that you could replenish your supply of Redox, that this company had figured out how to basically create these molecules outside your body in a bioactive form so that you could drink it and your body would think that it made it. So you couldn't be allergic to it because it's bioidentical to what you're making. No toxicity. The body would use it and then it would go back into saline, which is what you're filled with. And your body uses the sodium and chloride from salt and the hydrogen and oxygen from water to make a lot of different molecules. And I thought, this sounds too good to be true. I mean, that was my honest initial opinion of this stuff. But then I saw it work for my parents, both of them. With different issues, and my mom with her hands, with joints in her hands, my dad with an old knee injury, and then his athletic performance, and I'm like, what is happening? So I started to use it because they said, well, it can't contraindicate with your medicines, because I was on pretty heavy duty stuff for my brain, and just give it 6 months. Like, it can't not work. It works in everybody. If you put more signal into your system's going to be able to figure out where you've got the damage and where it needs to repair and what's off that needs to be on and all those things. And so 3 months into drinking this, it's a liquid that you drink, the pressure, the pounding, the severity of all of the, like we talked about.
The vice.
Gone. Yeah, it was that vice grip was gone. The pounding was gone. I could think clearly again. I had been in a fog for 2 years. We're 2 years out from my accident at this point. The fog lifted. My energy level started to come back. I wasn't having a nap. Like, I used to go to the grocery store and that was it for the day. Like the colors, the people, the everything, like grocery stores were the most. So I would do that, and that was the activity for the day. All of a sudden, I could go to the grocery store, I could walk the dog, I could have a friend come over, I would hang out for dinner, and my parents are like, don't you want to go lay down? I'm like, no, I feel good. So I could get the words out I wanted. Like, my processing speed was slow, so I sometimes couldn't get the word that I wanted to say out. I'd have to describe it, and people didn't realize that I was having trouble with it, or even typing. I'd type the wrong word, and people were like, oh, it's autocorrect. And I'm like, no. No.
That's my brain.
That's my brain. I wrote change. I meant to write choice. My brain put. And it's crazy because I would even reread my messages multiple times to try and catch this stuff, but my brain would correct it into what it thought it wrote.
Wow.
And it's a real word, so you don't get like the little red line or the wrong word. Crazy. But yeah, the Redox changed my life. Literally, I stayed on it after I started to have that progress. And a year in, my sensitivity to light went away. Didn't have to wear the glasses. I could look at screens again. 2 years in, my sensitivity to noise went away. I could finally listen to music again. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And I'm forever grateful for that.
So you talked about Redox, and there is a concept that I become a little more familiar in the past 6 years, oxidative stress. And you mentioned mitochondria, and you kind of made some connection to how the health of mitochondria relates to what is actually going on in daily life. But let's get a little more specific on that, like how mitochondrial health affects real life, and then also what oxidative stress does, and what is oxidative stress, so people may not know.
About oxidative stress, kind of like, I'm in Florida, things rust. Okay?
Yes.
Or if you like leave an apple out, you know, and it gets brown, like that's oxidative stress. That's like you watch that happen. That happens in your body as well. So your system is constantly trying, again, to seek balance. Oxidative stress, though, is important sometimes. It's kind of like the smoke to the fire. So it's what lets the body know something's off here, right? We're a little out of balance. And so the system is like, why is there so much of this happening over here? That's the smoke that lets you know, oh, there's a fire, and it comes and repairs it. The problem is that if that never gets detected and you have these many things going on in the body, it's going to bounce around and cause all sorts of trouble if you have too much oxidative stress in your system. So you want to keep it, like, we need it. The signal is necessary, but we can't have too much of it. You know, it's like, oh, the apple's turning brown. I should put it in the, you know,
in the fridge.
In the fridge.
Yes.
Right. This is what you want to do. So that's the way I think about oxidative stress, and hopefully that's helpful to everyone to just look at that. It's part of what our body goes through. Your mitochondria, this is like a huge area of health. It's very exciting for me to see that the conversation is moving more and more towards mitochondrial health. Like if your mitochondria aren't happy and healthy and functioning, like you're not. They make your energy, your ATP. Like you need that for all processes. It's something that, like I mentioned, like over time, just the efficiency of them are going down. And so your body, it's just that, like, that's part of the aging process. It's a big part of the aging process.
Right.
Your system isn't going to make as much signal. Your system's not going to be able to figure out where damage is. You know, they have things like red light therapy. Red light therapy is going to activate your mitochondria. Well, so now your mitochondria that you do have are going to make more ATP, and they're going to make more signaling molecules, and that's great. And that's why we see some of the results we see with some red light treatments. But I mean, imagine if, like, what blew my mind with Redox was you don't need more mitochondria. What you need is the output of the mitochondria, these signaling molecules. And if you can just flood the system with more signaling molecules, well, all of a sudden the body can figure out where issues are. The body can get back into homeostasis faster, and it can revolutionize the way that you're able to support your health at the most foundational level. Like if your cells are healthy, think about it. If everything's signaling properly and the cells are doing what they're supposed to, well, then every tissue in your body is going to be optimized, which means every organ is, which means every system of your body is. It's like the trickle up. Yeah. And, you know, the way that medicine, it's kind of inverts the way we usually do medicine, because medicine typically is looking at the system level. Where do I see symptoms? Okay, let me get something in here, some drug or something that can mask this symptom, or can, you know, give plug something in for what's needed that the body's not doing anymore. I think about like diabetes, you know, like,
yes.
Okay, the resistant creating insulin. Okay, we get a drug in here to do that. Well, you're kind of just masking the problem.
Right.
Like, what if you could keep trickling down to the cellular level? And if you could fix whatever the malfunction was at the cellular level, well, now those cells are doing what they're supposed to. So the tissue, the organ, the system is. And now all of a sudden, well, you won't need that medication because you don't need the substitute anymore because you got the real thing.
Right.
And it takes longer, you know, to see results if you're working at the cellular level sometimes, because like we're talking about trillions of cells that we got to get optimized again. But like ultimately to me, like that's what you want to do. Like, okay, maybe you need Western medicine as a patch for a moment, but then let's actually fix the issue and not just leave the patch.
You constantly worry about his safety. Then why aren't you worried about this? Protect his brain. Prevent CTE. Learn more at stopcte.org.
A lot of times the medicine that we get these days takes the place of what our bodies created to make, like testosterone or the thyroid medicine that they give you, and then your body quits altogether because it's intelligent. God has designed this body to do
very
these
intelligently.
Pretty amazingly.
Yes. Yeah.
We can't outdo him.
No. The complexity is
well
incredible.
beyond us.
Yes.
My grandmother had a thyroid issue for like 50 years. They had, I think either she had been hyper and went hypo, or hypo and went hyper. I forget. They had done some treatment to her, and so it had caused an issue. So she was on Synthroid for forever. As long as
I was on it for about 10 years.
Okay, yeah. Well, so we got her on the Redox, like the same thing I was drinking. We had her start drinking it, and like a year into it, so it wasn't like some immediate thing, but a year in, she got her blood work done. And the blood work came back, and her doctor called her and said, hey, you need to come down on your Synthroid. You're taking too much. And she was like, I've been doing this for 50 years.
I'm taking the same amount.
Yeah. she's like, you did your blood work wrong. You messed up my labs. I'm going to come back in. And she couldn't even drive at that point. So someone else had a driver. She did her blood work, came back. They called her back and they said, no, it was your blood work and you need to come down on the Synthroid. And she called me. I'll never forget the phone call. What is that stuff that you gave me? And blah, 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 like mad at me. And I said, well, hang on. Like, why is it a problem that your body is now doing what it's supposed to do and you don't need the drug anymore?
Right.
And she was kind of silent. And she went, oh, well, I guess you're right. And she stayed on it. And I think she was on like a baby dose of Synthroid once a week.
Wow.
They passed away. But yeah, it's like, it's amazing. It took 50 years. Like that blows my mind that, the body was still ready and able, once given the right materials to do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just needs a signal. It just needs to figure out where the issues are.
Right. And then so when you have too much oxidative stress, then these signals don't really work how they're supposed to, right? And then of course you have a bunch of cells that are not doing what they're supposed to, like the mitochondria is not working efficiently in them. And then you end up with symptoms that the doctor may not be able to even connect to anything. I feel like a lot of times people get the results that everything looks good, but they don't feel good.
Yeah. And I think that's where like inflammation is a big problem. If you've got a lot of free radicals jumping around and everything, and they're bumping in and they're hitting stuff, and the system is just like stimulated, right? And then maybe the immune system starts to attack itself because it doesn't know what's going on, or you get inflammation in areas, and because the body is like on defense mode. It can't figure out why. Why? Because there's too much smoke.
Right.
There's too much of this. And it's not getting resolved. And so now, like too much smoke, you inhale that, you're dead. You got too much of that going on in your body. It's going to cause all of these seemingly random symptoms.
Yes.
And this is where, I really enjoy, have you guys read Callie Means's book, Good Energy?
No. I think you're the first one I heard about it from, but tell us more about it.
Well, I just found her fascinating because it's like she had the epiphany that I had, and now she had gone further into the medical system because she became a doctor. She went to Stanford, all these things. And she kind of she was doing a surgery. I think her specialty was sinuses, if I remember, like ear, nose, throat stuff. But she was doing a surgery for this woman that was having all of these issues. And as she's doing it, she's like, I'm not actually fixing the root of this woman's problem. I'm maybe creating more space so whatever can happen, but like, why is this happening in the first place? And she said, then I realized that our medical system got all of us so niched down that we're looking at the body in this like tiny window. And it's like, well, I know ear, nose, throat. For lungs, you need to go here. For your immune system, you need to go here. And so people are just knocking down the doors of all these specialists, racking up crazy bills and getting a prescription from everyone who thinks they're doing the best job. And this is the thing. It's not like malpractice. It's like this is how they're trained to look at the body. And my grandfather said the same thing. I'm a lung doctor, Danielle, and I can teach you how to prescribe and cut, and I'm very good at what I do. But I don't know nutrition.
Yes.
I don't know these other things. And so what she left the profession and she just said, we're doing this all wrong. And we're doing this all wrong. And there's perverse incentives where you get the pharmaceutical industry a little too involved, and they want people to kind of hone in and focus and, here's a drug for that thing. And so it just gets a little murky. And the truth is you are a whole system and you're trillions of cells. And if you want to go to the foundation, you need to go to the cells. And she talks about good energy, that your mitochondria, and like you need good mitochondrial health, you need good energy. And that's to me where the puck is going on the ice, if that makes sense, like where health is moving. And some people have already seen it and they're already there. I got there because of my own health issues that I went, oh no, cellular health is it. Like that's what you need to address.
I agree.
If you can get your cells happy, hydration is key for your cells to be happy. Oxygenation is key. They need oxygen. Good nutrition is key, and good signal. If you have those things, I think you're going to be able to support like 90% of what's going on in your health. Like 10% maybe you're going to need like the Western care for.
So share with our listeners, what are some of the things that are causing oxidative, the too much smoke that we've been talking about, like, and how that relates to, of course, trauma and, brain injuries. We have obviously people who are listening for traumatic brain injuries.
Well, with TBI, you've got a lot of damage. I mean, it ripped the myelin sheath, right? And so you've got all this damage. Talk about a lot of smoke coming out, right? Like it's like there's all this damage going on. The system is trying to figure out and find, and it's almost like it was too chaotic, for my body to figure it out. Well, once it got more signal and the clarity was in, it could go in and it could actually resolve where the issues were. But lifestyle, a lot of lifestyle stuff can increase oxidative stress, can cause it. I know that for myself, and if you have brain injury, you probably, if you're not, you should start paying attention to what you're eating, because I had never thought twice about what I ate.
Same
I
here.
just ate it, kept going, going. I never realized, when I eat this thing, I feel sluggish. Oh, I feel tired. Oh, I'm a little headachy. Oh, my stomach kind of hurts. Oh, the next day, bowel movements kind of weird. I never correlated it. I mean, it's crazy as it is, but I never correlated it to what I was eating. And what you put into your body really matters, I mean, I would challenge someone for a month to just cut out processed food, just eat whole food. It's going to be cheaper. It's actually much cheaper to just eat fruits, vegetables, that kind of thing. Shop on the edges of the grocery store, not the inside. But actually do it for a month. And you're going to feel different. The inflammation in your body is going to go down, and you're not even going to realize that you were inflamed, until you do that. You're going to be like, oh, this is just normal to feel a little stiff, a little achy. These are all indicators that your system is not optimized. So that makes a difference. Exercise is good. You need to put stress onto your body. Our body is meant to be broken down and rebuild stronger. It's needed. So if you're sitting around too much, your system is not optimized. It's just not. It's gonna cause more problems. What else? I think the other thing I will say is lack of hydration. A lot of people are dehydrated.
Oh, yes.
And with brain injury, you need to be very well hydrated. It makes a big difference. Also, I found I needed food every 3 hours. I had to be putting fuel in because the brain burns so much that you need to be giving your body a lot of fuel because it's in repair mode. So you've got to be putting good fuel.
Yes.
Good fuel in your
Not Captain Crunch.
Not Captain Crunch.
Yeah, that goes. That's part of that process, middle of the grocery store stuff. Yeah.
That's right at the center of the grocery store.
Exactly. High protein, high fat. I'm not a complicated person. I can't count this and that and ratios and whatever. To me, it's just color. Put colors on your plate. And if you do that, you're probably going to get a good ratio of most of what you need.
That's the antioxidants you're talking about right there, like the phenols in the plants, right? Which actually brings me to this question of, so when we talk about oxidative stress, people, draw the conclusion that, I just have to take antioxidants. So let's talk about why that is not true and how redox is different than antioxidants.
You need a balance. This is interesting. I should have looked this up before I got on here to talk with you guys, but it's they're renaming. I want to say something like the Free Radical Society is now the Redox Society. It's we thought antioxidants were the story, because it makes sense. Oh, I need to get rid of all of the oxidative stress in my body, right? So antioxidants are the hero. And in a way, they do great things, but too much of a good thing, is a problem. You need a balance. We need reductants and oxidants. We need oxidative species. We need, reduced species. We need them both. And the system has to have them to be in balance. And the interesting thing with redox molecules, one of the things they do is they will activate antioxidants in your system. They will help your system to go after, the oxidative stress. But also at the same time, they'll create some of the signal that is needed, again, because you need the smoke for the fire. So it's a balance of the two. You can't just get rid of all the smoke and not deal with the fire.
Right.
We need both to keep that analogy going. I hope that makes sense. But everything's a balance. In nature, we talked about at the beginning, light and dark. We need reductants and we need oxidants. We need both. It's the full picture. Up to this point, everyone kind of was hyper-focused on one side. They thought they were the hero. But you actually need both. we need to have a balance of both.
Absolutely.
And that's where C is so interesting. The company that makes these redox molecules is because they're the only ones that have figured out how to get a balanced set of reductants and oxidants into the same vessel so that you can actually drink it and put a balanced, into your own body. And that's why there's no toxicity, there's no inflammatory response that can be induced. Like there's no issue with their product.
Would you say that learning more about cellular wellness changed how you look at health? Like, like revolutionized it? I mean, I feel that way. That's why I'm asking. Like,
yeah, it's funny because I now like the way it did like inverted how I look at things, where I go, okay, well, why is my body having that symptom? Like, yeah, sure, I could go get a quick fix or take a pill or rub something on or whatever from the doctor. But my question is always, what's happening at the cellular level that is resulting for this thing to manifest at the system level?
Oops.
It's the way I look at my dog. When he has stuff, I'm like, okay, what's off? Like something's off that we need to get to the root of. And use Redox with my dog for the same reason,
Same here.
It's like, it's such a powerful way to help the body get to it. And yeah, cellular health is everything. And I think if you're new to it, thank goodness you guys put such great information out there and educate about this, because it is a whole new way of looking at health. It's not what we grew up looking at.
No,
but,
not at all.
like science is always changing. It's evolving. Like you said, everything's theory, right? We're constantly, oh, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? And I think for me, that's why I'm always like curious. I've been curious my whole life. That's why I study biology. Like I'm very fascinated by the body, and the most foundational piece is the cell. And the cell is so complex and so incredible. But if you can get it optimized, everything will be optimized.
Well, David's been, trying. He's been using. Well, I've been using the same thing too for several years. But he's been having different experiences since February, I guess, if I remember correctly, with an increased dose. So I want you, David, to tell a little bit about what does it feel like when your cells are not working properly compared, for anybody who's got TBI, like what can they expect? You had pretty severe symptoms too, kind of like Danielle, but at a different level.
Yeah, well, mine was, it lasted a long time. I didn't recover. My brain injury started at 15, but my head injury was in the severe one from the accident was I fractured my skull in several places in 2008. And then from 2008 to 2009, I believe it must have been CTE symptoms that because of all the past head injuries, I became suicidal and hopeless. And because I was blacking out, losing time, doing things I didn't know I was doing, and hurting people I loved, and so that didn't stop. I just isolated, and so if I wasn't around people, I was unsuccessful at attempting suicide. I don't know. Mom said it was 7 times the first 6 months.
She said 7 to 8 times in the first 12 months.
And then I went about 8 years without it, but I was completely drugged up on psychiatric drugs. Sitting in a chair, I watched everything on Netflix that you could, I'd seen the whole thing. Is there something else? Oh, Hulu, yay! That's all I did, and eat Captain Crunch. The whole time I'm making myself worse.
It's got colors, Danielle.
And I didn't even drink. I didn't drink water.
Wrong guys.
Like I didn't drink water at all. I just I had a Dr.
Sweet
Pepper
tea?
or a Coke or a sweet tea.
All right.
And so I wasn't doing the right things for my body. I was diagnosed bipolar. So the psychiatric world, the doctors there diagnosed me bipolar. Never even spoke once about my head injury, the head injuries. None of that ever came up. And so they're treating me as bipolar and dousing me with antipsychotics and antidepressants and stimulants on this end and knock you down in the dirt on this end. And they were trying to balance something with drugs. And finally, in 2017, I saw a neurologist, a psychiatrist that specialized. He was both neuro and psychiatry, and he specialized in TBI. And he's the one that sat down and told me, he listened to my hour and a half history I told him. First time I'd ever had a doctor do that. And at the end of it, he said, have you heard of CTE? And I said, no. And he said, well, you've listed here, what you've listed here is in the past decade, stage 4 CTE symptoms. So it's like you're at and there's only 4 stages. He said, I can't do anything for you except get you off of the psychiatric drugs that you've been on. I can wean you off of that safely, but then after that, I'm going to have to let you go. There's nothing I can do to treat it. He didn't have any answers for me to do. And that was 2017. Unfortunately, there were things I could do, but he didn't have the answers to tell me, even though he specialized in TBI. So he took me to that as far as he could take me. And then as soon as I got off all the psychiatric drugs, I needed drugs. I needed something, so I started self-medicating. I couldn't focus at all anymore. I couldn't sleep at all anymore. I was starving for just to feel myself be like, who am I? I was demented. I couldn't. By the end of it, I was homeless for about 2.5 years. And right before I met Fru, I moved to Denver. And while homeless, I moved to Denver. Like, I'm going to be homeless, I might as well get out of Florida, where it's nice and warm, and go to where all the snow's at. I just make the smartest decisions. But I didn't want to go to jail anymore, and Florida liked locking me up. So I took off to Denver. And within a few months, I had met Fru through the internet, her business on Instagram. She had a device called the Body Sound Chair. And that's how her and I initially ran across each other. I never became a customer of hers. I ended up in the hospital for suicide again. And I was in there for 30-something days. That's when I met Fru. And things began changing at that moment. Like, Fru, you know how educated or intelligent of a person I am, and how uneducated of everything that I was doing that was bad for me I was, like.
Well, he's talking about how I found like Oreo cookies in every single drawer where he had like socks and underwear and everything. So he wasn't.
I loved my sugar. I could eat sugar.
And he didn't drink water either.
I didn't drink water.
But
I drank vodka and high C, or vodka and pickle juice, or vodka and iced tea,
something
whatever.
Really happy on
vodka.
the side of the vodka.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you, like, the things that we saw, though, that started to change when your diet changed, was like very promising, not as promising as what we saw when you actually started to use Redox.
Yep. And we did this gradually. Like, I started only on 4 ounces.
Which, Danielle, you would you tell us about how much you used for and how much you're using now? Like, how does that work for you?
They had me drink 8 ounces a day, and they actually told me to drink a whole bottle of it the first day, like first 24 hours. They said, look, just flood your system. Like, your system has a lot going on. Just flood your system with it, and then just do 8 ounces a day. And at the time, I didn't know that you could really do more in a day or whatever. So we just did 8 ounces, and I just stayed on that.
You never changed it.
I've been on 8 ounces every day.
Yeah. You drink more if you feel something's off, or?
Yeah. So if I'm traveling, or, because like when you're flying, you're exposed to so many people and just everything.
Yes.
I always up it whenever I travel, the day before and the day of and the day after, just to help boost my immune system and just help me be a little bit stronger. Who knows what I've avoided over the years? I don't know.
Right.
But that's what I do. And people will drink. I have seen like 4 to 8 ounces is kind of the normal range. The variables are age. The younger you are, the more you have. The older you are, the less you have. So the more you might need to supplement. And severity of issue, right? With what we have going on, David, like it was a lot severe. So more is better. And now I know you can do even more than 8. And people with neurological stuff, I typically see doing more than 8 ounces a day leads to them feeling the results faster.
Yep.
It's working.
Yep.
It can't not
You
work.
know it. That part of
Yeah.
that part of you that you haven't been able to feel or connect with, you become connected with it.
Yeah, he said a few days ago that I think I have problems with my focus. So I said, okay, here's a bottle, drink it today. And then here's a bottle and drink it tomorrow. And here's a bottle. So he did a 3-day where he was just, drinking a bottle a day. And sure enough, day 2, I heard him saying, man, my brain works so good today. So you can feel it.
And my body, my brain's working. I'm a 52-year-old man, and I'm working like 3 teenagers. I'm doing the work of a lot of people, and I'm staying up with it 12 hours a day. I'm jamming out, and I used to not be able to do that at all. I mean, not whatsoever. A couple hours of something, and it would have to be coached. My mother would come over to get things done, and she'd come over and stay with me and just keep me focused. And 2 hours or 3 hours worth of work, I was shot. I had to go sit down and rest, and that's not happening anymore. I'm sleeping great, and I'm feeling better. I still have a lot of damage. I live a rock star lifestyle for a long time. So I still smell like Jack Daniels and cigarettes, and I ain't drank or smoked in 7 years.
No, you don't. So what there is one question that I like to ask pretty much from everybody who understands, how the brain works and oxidative stress also, like why are the brain cells so sensitive to oxidative stress? Why? And nerve cells, of course. Do you know that? Can you say anything in terms of that?
What I will say is the brain's incredible. It requires so much for all of the things to happen that we're conscious of and the things that we're not even conscious of, telling the body to do so much. I mean, it's everything. And so if there's any bit that's off, it can impact so much, like mood can be impacted, the production of different hormones, neurotransmitters, there's so much that can get shifted when the brain just gets slightly off kilter or slightly out of balance. And it shows up in a lot of different ways. It is amazing to me how many people are walking around with head injuries and don't realize it. They weren't diagnosed
absolutely.
Just walking around being like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't focus. No, I am moody. No, I have these psychiatric diagnoses. Oh, I'm just depressed. No, you're not. You have an imbalance from trauma to your brain. There's too much oxidative stress in your brain. We need to get it balanced down so that the brain can start actually functioning and communicating properly again. And it's everything.
For the brain injuries survivors that are listening, and if you know anything about computers, here's what it's like. You got a computer with 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it can do everything that the computer with 16 gigabytes of RAM can do, but you get the little wheel of death, the circle of it's taking a long time to do it. It can't do so many things. You close down these 3 apps and make sure you only got one thing running, and then it works great. But I only figured that out. I'm not a computer genius at all. I only figured that out because I had a Mac, and I was doing editing for the movie, and it was having a hard time. So I someone told me I needed more memory of RAM. And I was able to pull the back off of that computer, buy another card, and went from 2 to 16. And once I had 16 gigabytes of RAM, it updated the computer to being like what yours running quick and fast now. That's what I'd like to say about Redox. Is once I've got the right amount of redox molecules signaling in my mind, I'm capable of doing all the things I used to be able to do, and my mind is able to, it shows, and my body follows. So that's what it's doing for me.
It's not it's not just a mindset problem, that's the brain injury comes across I'm sure you heard that too, what's wrong with Danielle? She looks fine.
Yeah. I had, people saying, you look fine. Well, but you look fine. Oh, but you look so good. And I remember I was at Mount Sinai in Baltimore, and was sitting and doing something with the speech language pathologist, and she literally said to me, oh, people with concussion, people with these TBIs, they make it up. They actually can do it, but you got to be careful with them because they act like they can't.
Ooh. She might
And
have
I
got
was
popped in the
like,
nose as she's talking to me.
exactly.
Excuse me, that crosses the line. Another domestic violence charge.
Wow.
I'm like, how are you sitting on the other side of the table? But until
Terrible.
you've been through it, I get it. It's hard to understand.
Yeah.
Like it is because you look like this. You look completely.
That's one of the most difficult things about being a TBI survivor is how people don't know.
Well,
anything. I heard Donald Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard him say that. He said that
But-
people would cut off legs. That's an injury, but a concussion, I don't
It's
see.
not. It's not a real injury.
That was
yes.
before.
But that comes back to
Kennedy came along,
It comes back to what you were saying,
He
that
straightened
we
it.
don't really understand the brain. So therefore we don't really understand how many functions that are going on in the body are going through the brain first.
Yeah.
So
If you're moving through mud, I mean, that's what it always felt like to me.
Yeah.
It's like it felt like I was walking, but like stuck in mud, where it was just like so slow to get anything done.
That's your
Like,
gigabytes of RAM you were missing.
exactly. Your analogy.
Now my
was
wife's
perfect.
gonna start glowing. Watch this. Now you say balance, and you got this brain that everything goes through. How about our gut?
yeah, so it's related. Well, you talked about like protein, like eating, like like going from vegetarian. Thank you for saying that, by the way. It's like one of the biggest challenge in what I do and what I've been doing is to help people to realize that what you've been told in mainstream media about your health and wellness is not necessarily the truth, and sometimes it really sometimes it's very far from the truth when it comes to balancing those functions out, because I've seen balancing hormones and stuff like that in my life with nutrition, with proper nutrition, and just like you described, I had no idea that pick a memorable one, bad body odor, would be related to what's going on in my gut. I had no idea about it.
True. Have you eaten your probiotics this week? Hey, you guys know we've been on an hour now.
Yeah, I think it's. I was gonna wrap it up, but I just wanted to say a special
That's a great
thank
interview.
you.
Great
very
job.
very special thank you for sharing that, Danielle. Because I'm doing a Telegram channel where I'm actually teaching people how to build up your gut microbiome, which is another thing that you can do besides of redox when you're looking for balanced cells and have that redox balance in your body. It's not just redox that does it. We do like how much environmental toxins we have to deal with, and then all the traumas that are also slowing us down. Those all, like, we need to attack this from different angles. And so thank you for saying that as well, especially. So
You're like the preacher at church. I got 15 more pages of notes, but I got to do altar call.
I actually wanted to say, like, at the very beginning, that I would love to have you back and just talk about neuroplasticity, because we haven't actually talked about it, and I realized that there are a lot of people who don't know about neuroplasticity. We always talk about it like, we know this, but
Duh.
like, no.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, come on, neuroplasticity, don't you know it? Well, anyways, thank you so much, Danielle. This conversation matters for a lot of people. You're bringing hope into people's life, and also thank you for the education that you're constantly doing on
That's
this, because I know that you do that, and I know that your heart is in it. So
I owe how I
really
feel to you,
appreciate that.
Danielle. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
so
it.
Redox is something that David and I have been using for years. I've been using it for almost 6 years. David has been using it for almost 5. And we've seen incredible results with it. And many of the challenges that we overcame over the years, we contribute to that. And so
I'd like to say thank you to the Patrick Rishis CTE Awareness Foundation, because they made it possible for me to take 16 ounces a
yes,
day.
that is true. And for us to do this.
To do this show, all this
like every
cameras
week
and
also.
And so it's wonderful.
So, but if either one of you would like to learn more about this, we are we would be honored to connect you with experts and people who can tell you more about it or answer any of your questions or, concerns. We're not forcing the body to do anything. We're just gently adding something to it that's already in it. So it's very non-invasive. I don't know anything less
Do we have to
invasive.
say this isn't medical advice and all that stuff?
We'll put it in the description,
Okay, we'll put that in the
disclaimer. But
description.
we're not doctors and we're not giving
Don't
medical
skateboard
advices
without
to
a helmet.
anybody. but if you'd like to learn more about this, just text the number 6622162235 Cellular or Redox, whichever you'd like. Cellular or Redox will know where to lead you with questions. And again, thank you, Danielle, for being here. Thank you for spending more than an hour.
And thanks for matching us. It's
from your
almost like
precious time. Oh, yes,
We didn't
true.
even-
it's like we're in the choir
Black
together.
tie event. I was like, that's
I love it. I didn't even pay attention. Thanks for pointing it out.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So yes, I hope we'll see you back and we can talk more about neuroplasticity, as it's something that we haven't. Yeah, thank you, Danielle.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all this. Good job. We'll see you next week. Or you'll hear us next week.
Yes, they will.
Go ahead and talk us out, Fru.
Talk us out?
Talk us out
What's
of
that
here.
mean? We have an outro that we're
I
going to
know
put at the end of it. I
but
don't
you
have to
still
do
can
that.
Talk us out.
Well, thank you, Danielle.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Dr. Feelgood. If this episode meant something to you, share it with someone who needs it.
And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. And remember, healing is possible. We'll see you next time.
With real talk, real healing, real good.